Jennifer is going to present on the meta goals.
Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
I'm just stretching and moving my body after that beautiful meditation. So thank you. Okay, so this morning we thought we would talk a little bit about the meta goals, Virginia Satir's meta goals. And, you know, the word meta comes from the Greek meaning beyond, or it's a prefix meaning it's more comprehensive or transcending. So when we look at meta goals, it's really about beyond goals. It's transcending goals and more comprehensive goals. Not really something that we arrive at. I don't think we ever complete. Like, I've done these goals and I'm done, moving on to the next goals. It's more of an ongoing or a shifting process, a work in progress. So I was thinking a lot this week about meta goals and looking at them as, the overarching elements to work on within all aspects of our everyday experience. When those of you who have taken level 1, level 2, we often talk about the meta goals as the overarching goals we hold for our clients. But I want us to take a look this morning or this evening, for those of you on the other side of the world, at what it means for overarching goals for our everyday experience, each moment. So going beyond circumstances or whatever the situation is, but goals that we can refer to anywhere, really, and in any moment as we experience ourselves. So looking at that, if we look at what is being more responsible. So the 4 meta goals, being more responsible, being a better choice maker, increasing self-esteem, and more congruent. Those are we'll go through them in detail and look at what that means for what that could look like in our everyday experience. So in becoming more responsible, Satir wasn't talking about just what we're doing. It's not about our doing, but how can we be more responsible? How can I be more responsible for my internal experience? We can look at, being aware of what's going on inside for me and owning that this is my experience. So awareness and acknowledging my experience and accepting my experience. So looking at, COVID-19 and this whole global situation, if I look at how can I be more responsible, it's not just about my behavior. It's not just about physical distancing and washing my hands for 20 seconds, or how am I taking care of myself, but how am I being responsible for my whole internal experience? I'm sure you can all relate to feeling stressed sometimes. Can anyone relate to that? So, when feeling stressed, do we allow ourselves to be consumed by it and let it overtake us? Or are there ways that I could be more responsible? So even in the way that I might just pause and take a deep breath, or just pause to recalibrate my nervous system, shaking it off, or stretching, or exercise. So knowing that every part of our experience belongs to us. I've got my a little iceberg model here. So, yes, our doing, our behavior belongs to us. My feelings belong to me. My perceptions, my thoughts, my beliefs, those belong to me. My expectations are mine. And our yearnings, my yearnings are universal. We all have the same yearnings. But I can be more responsible with the way I'm going about trying to meet my yearnings. So I can be more conscious about what's going on in my experience so that I can then also be more responsible, more response-able. I like kind of playing with that word, response-able, because I can be better able to respond from a position of owning my experience and not being the victim of circumstances. So becoming more responsible. Another one of the meta goals is becoming a better choice maker. And Virginia Satir, 1 choice is no choice. 2 choices is a dilemma. So we want at least 3 choices to become a better choice maker. So I kind of play a little game with this sometimes in situations where, you know, if I'm feeling stuck, what are the 3 choices? Because sometimes it really feels like there's not a whole lot of choice within some of these situations. So even within restrictions and rules, we always have choice. There's always choice. So, for example, how will I spend time with me today? I could go for a walk. I could dance in my living room. I could treat myself to a fancy coffee. How will I spend time with people in my family? Or how do I want to connect with friends or not connect with friends? So we always have choices. And then looking at times when we're reacting, you know, what are my choices when I find myself in a reactive place? Do I yell or do I walk away? Do I set limits or do I soothe myself before I respond? Always looking for, like, what are my choices in any situation, in any circumstance? And then we can look at the meta goal of increasing self-esteem. And I want to add to that, because when we look at self-esteem, Virginia Satir defines self-esteem as the judgments we have of ourselves. How do we judge ourselves? I really want to add in increasing our self-compassion. So adding in self-compassion, which is raising our ability to be more compassionate with ourselves. So accepting ourselves and loving ourselves in our perfectly imperfect human experience. I wonder, like, keeping these meta goals in the foreground could be one way of helping us to go beyond our daily living and experiences. And then the 4th meta goal is becoming more congruent more of the time. We're not striving for 100% congruence, because we're human. We're having a human experience. So how do we go back to that place where we're connected with our life energy? Or how do we go back to that place where we really experience feeling just in flow and in harmony, connected with our internal resources, that we have everything that we need for healing and for survival and for growth, which really contributes to our vitality and our presence with ourself and others. I don't think Sandy Novak isn't on this call, but I want to quote one of her definitions of congruence that she's been playing around with, because she recently said, you know, defined congruence as a state of harmony inside that comes from being connected to the whole of who we are with acceptance and love. So I want to say that again, a state of harmony inside that comes from being connected to the whole of who we are with acceptance and love. So acceptance and love. There's something else I want to say about meta goals, because it's not just about feeling good and positive and all that. Like, what if I'm having an off day? I'm sure, can you relate to having an off day? I think we have off moments. I see you nodding your heads. So if I'm feeling down or anxious or stressed, instead of blaming on others or circumstances, can I just own it? I'm having an off day. Can I own that I'm feeling down? Looking at choices that I have in a moment in time. You know, I can stay in bed. I can get up. I can get outside for a walk. I can change my expectations towards my kids around their schooling and online school stuff going on. I can be more gentle and compassionate with myself in my human experience of having an off day. And then looking to how do we reconnect with life energy and connection to the bigger picture? So it really is about owning our experience and being responsible for our experience. Owning our choices within our experiences and having more self-compassion within our experiences. Getting back to congruence. So that's basically kind of what I wanted to say about meta goals. And I want to leave you with some questions. But before we do that, I just want to check if there's anything you want to add to that, Linda.
No, I think that the meta goals initially were created. We were taught that it was to have with our clients. Not that we shared with our clients, but in every interaction, that what we say and how we are with them is like trying to follow all four of those goals. But I think we look at like, how can we use those meta goals in our own lives with ourselves, first off, but also just with people that we encounter. That we're not doing or saying things that can like lower somebody's self-esteem, or we're providing choices, we're helping come up with choices, that it's not just for our clients, that it's really for ourselves too, and for people in our lives. So that's all I would add.
Okay. So I do have some questions as we go into our breakout rooms this morning. And I'm going to try and do a little share screen thing so that I post the questions for you. And then you could take a screenshot or a picture so you have them. And if it doesn't work, I will just read them out to you. But let me see.
We're getting fancy.
I'm getting fancy with the technology. Let's see, is this going to work? Can you see that?
Yeah, it's nice.
Okay. Okay, so questions for reflection. What does it mean to me to have more self-compassion? And then what allows me to reconnect with my life energy? What would it look like for me to consciously expand the choices I have in any given moment? So these are just guidelines. Like you don't have to answer these questions, but something just to guide your discussion in your breakout rooms. So what does it mean to me to have more self-compassion? What allows me to reconnect with my life energy? And what would it look like for me to consciously expand the choices I have in any given moment?